Hello, and welcome to this special webinar event. Your hybrid cloud is under attack. Learn to protect it with Zero Trust. Zero Trust is a concept you may have heard of, but not be fully familiar with just yet. This event will get you up to speed on what you need to know to protect your network. Today's webinar is sponsored by Palo Alto Networks and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Keith Ward. I'm with Actual Tech Media, and I'm excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great content, though, there are a few things you need to know that will help you get the most out of this session. First of all, the Q&A panel is where to go if you're experiencing any technical issues. A browser refresh will fix most audio, video, and slide advancement problems, but if that doesn't work, let us know in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. In addition, take a look at the handout section of your webinar control panel, because there you'll find some important resources, including a link to the Gorilla Guide Book Club, where you can get access to Actual Tech Media's vast library of printed resources on technology topics, as well as a link to the ATM Event Center, which has our calendar of upcoming events. And you'll also find the terms and conditions for today's prize giveaway. That prize is a $250 Amazon gift card, which we'll give away to one lucky registrant at the end of the event. Of course, you must be in attendance during the entire event to qualify for the prize. And with that out of the way, let's get to today's good stuff. It's my pleasure to introduce you to our presenter today, Dennis Payton. He is Senior Product Marketing Manager for Palo Alto. And joining Dennis, as you can see here, is a whole team of Palo Alto experts to take you on a journey to greater safety in the cloud, wherever your cloud is. Dennis, the floor is yours.
Hello and welcome to Your Hybrid Cloud is Under Attack. My name is Dennis Payton, Senior Product Marketing Manager for Software Firewalls. And today we're going to explore how you can prevent cyber attacks on your hybrid cloud infrastructure with a Zero Trust approach. Before we get started, just one logistical comment. I'm going to be sharing resources throughout the next hour to help you jumpstart your security for your hybrid cloud. These will be in the form of QR codes, but at the end of our discussion, I'm going to share a feedback link that will contain all the web links to those resources. So hopefully that'll make it a little more convenient for you. With that, we have a great panel of experts to lead us through our discussion today. But first, let me frame up the next hour before we jump right into it. The agenda for the day will start with a broad overview of Zero Trust Framework for clouds with NearZook. This will help keep us a North Star for securing approaches and protecting your hybrid cloud. Next, we'll talk with Tanya, and she'll take us through security platform approach to hybrid clouds to best achieve a consistent Zero Trust continuity that closes security gaps in your cloud while maintaining that complete visibility. Then a bit more technical, Raj, Imran, and Vijay will take a look at how software firewalls fit into your cloud reference architectures, manage your application security wherever those applications run, and finally, achieve agile cloud security deployments with common DevOps automation tools. So, are you ready to get started with your hybrid cloud Zero Trust journey? Let's give a warm welcome to NearZook.
Hi everyone, Near, founder and CTO of Palo Alto Networks. Today I want to talk about the Zero Trust enterprise, and more specifically, what is the role of the data center and the private cloud in the Zero Trust enterprise. But first, let's talk about what Zero Trust is. It's very confusing. It depends whom you ask. If you ask endpoint security vendors, they'll tell you that Zero Trust is all about securing the endpoint and making sure that the endpoint has zero bad things on it before you allow the user to do anything. And if you talk to identity and access management vendors, they'll tell you, no, it's all about identifying the user and authenticating the user before letting them do anything. And if you talk to proxy in the cloud vendors, they'll tell you, no, it's all about controlling where the user can do and what the user can do there once they're there. Very confusing. So what is Zero Trust? Well, we know that Zero Trust is very, very important. Even the President of the United States has mandated Zero Trust in the government. Well, we don't know what Zero Trust is, but mandating it is probably something that makes it very, very important. So to understand what Zero Trust is, let's start with the concept of trust. if you think about it, almost everything we do in cybersecurity is about answering the question of whether we can trust something or not. It all started in the late 80s when kids like me, I was a teenager back then, were writing viruses, and you had to check whether you can trust a floppy diskette before you put it in a floppy drive and accessed it. So antivirus vendors were created to do that. Again, can we trust the floppy disk or not? Later, when we connected to the internet, we had to check whether we can trust connections coming in, going out. So the firewall was created. That wasn't enough. Can we trust the user? Okay, an industry for identity and access management. If you remember SecureID, the first vendor in that industry in the mid-90s. Can we trust packets? Okay, let's create the IDS, later IPS industry. Can we trust URLs, websites? Let's create the URL filtering industry. Can we trust files we've never seen before? Let's create a sandboxing industry, and so on and so on. So really, almost everything we've always done in cybersecurity was about whether we can trust something or not, and it was all done in a whack-a-mole way, right? Every time a new challenge emerged, or every time somebody woke up on the wrong side of bed in the morning and said, can we trust this thing or not? A new industry was created, a new mole had to be whacked, and everybody bought the product, put it in their infrastructure, and moved on to the next one. And very soon we found ourselves with dozens of cybersecurity solutions, each looking at different component of the traffic or the transaction or whatever it is, answering the question, can we trust it or can we not? So this is the concept of trust, and cybersecurity is all about trust. And over the years, the way things have evolved is that in similar use cases, we use completely different systems. So let's take two extremes. A user sitting in an office, let's say at headquarters, trying to access a local data center, versus the same user sitting in a coffee shop, trying to access the same application deployed in public cloud or SaaS. In the former case, we're going to maybe check the identity of the user through a firewall, maybe a little bit beyond that, and then allow the user to access the application. In the latter case, we're going to do everything we can to verify everything we can. So we're going to verify the identity of the user, usually with two-factor authentication. We're going to run them through a proxy and through a CASB and through a firewall, and we're going to check for exploits, and we're going to check for malware, and we're going to check for data leakage. We're going to check for everything. Same user, same application, just a different use case. So that means that in the former case, we are assuming that the user is okay, maybe because they presented their badge when they entered the office, that the application is okay, maybe because the application is locally deployed, versus the user sitting at the coffee shop where we don't make the same assumptions and we check everything. That brings up the concept of implicit trust. So in cybersecurity today, we have a lot of implicit trust, meaning based on the situation, we decide to trust different components of the transaction and ignore the need to secure them versus other use cases. And all of that was created again in a whack-a-mole way. So a user sitting at headquarters going to a local data center will go through a firewall, and a user sitting at the coffee shop going to the local data center will go through a remote access VPN solution, and the same user sitting in the coffee shop going to a public cloud will go through a different system, and the same user going to a SaaS deployed application will go through a CASB. And so the same user going to the same application is going through completely different systems depending on the use case and is being checked for different things. There's a lot of implicit trust. Another example of implicit trust has to do with the data center. So take two extremes again. An application deployed in a traditional data center versus the same application deployed in public cloud. And now this application is trying to communicate with another application, or is trying to communicate with another component of the same application. If it's in a traditional data center, usually we'll check for nothing. Maybe there will be some segmentation, some VLAN-based segmentation between the different applications or the two components of the same application. Versus in the cloud, we're going to check for a lot of things. Again, two extremes, same application, same components, same transaction, just different use case, we're checking for different things, which means that we have implicit trust in one case, things that we trust in one case, we don't trust in another. Here is another example of implicit trust in cybersecurity. So that brings us to zero trust. What is zero trust? Zero trust is all about the elimination of any implicit trust in cybersecurity, which means that if we check for something in one use case, we check for the same thing in all use cases. So the user, from our previous example, sitting at headquarters trying to access a local data center, is going to go through exactly the same checks they would go through if they were sitting in a coffee shop trying to access a public cloud application. That's the idea behind zero trust, eliminating all implicit trust. Now, what the elimination of all implicit trust does is, of course, it makes us more secure. If users have to go through the same extreme checks, no matter what the use case is, we're probably more secure. Yes, it might put some more burden on the user if we don't do it correctly. There are ways to do it without putting more burden on the user, but we're more secure. Also, because we took many different use cases and combined them into one, we don't have anymore the use case of a user going to a local data center through a firewall versus remote access VPN versus a CASB versus going to a public cloud application, maybe through a proxy. We have one use case, one system. We made everything much simpler. Simpler, by the way, means cheaper and more secure. That's the way it works in cybersecurity. So it's really a win-win situation. We're more secure, simpler infrastructure, cheaper infrastructure. Zero trust is a great concept. It also is a concept that if you apply across your entire infrastructure, meaning for all your access needs, for all application needs, and we'll talk about a third case in a second, then you become a zero trust enterprise. You become more secure, you become simpler, cheaper to purchase, of course, cheaper to operate. It's a win-win situation for everyone. And it's becoming a goal of many enterprises to become a zero trust enterprise. It also creates for the first time an architecture that, if followed, you end up with a really good cybersecurity infrastructure. Now, this is a really, really good time to do that. And the reason it's a really good time to do that, meaning to become a zero trust enterprise, is because many of you, including us as an enterprise, are going through major transformations. The three relevant transformations that we're going through, and I believe many of you are going through, are number one, re-architecture of the wide area network to be more hybrid work friendly. That's an opportunity to refresh our internet security and make it into one use case versus the at least 4 use cases we have today. We're going through re-architecture of the data center because of the move to the cloud, whether it's public cloud or private cloud. It's a good opportunity to apply zero trust to data centers, and we'll talk about it a little bit more later. And also we're going through major transformations of our security operations centers that do have a role in zero trust. Not going to get into that today. If you want, there are other presentation available on the web that I've made, go and watch them. But re-architecting the security operations center because of the need for automation, because of the need for machine learning and so on, is a good opportunity to apply zero trust in the security operations center. So it's a really good time in history to make the transformation from the whack-a-mole game of buying 40 different solutions for many different use cases into let's combine everything into a small number of platforms that provide better security, cheaper security, simpler security, and so on. Again, why not? There are 3 pillars for zero trust. There is zero trust for users, all the way from the endpoint to the application. There is zero trust for applications. That's when applications talk to each other or components of applications talk to each other. I'll explain in a second why we need that. And there's also zero trust for infrastructure. We're not going to cover that today, but that talks about zero trust for supply chain, zero trust for routers and switches and IoTs and appliances like SolarWind and so on. All the things that we don't really have a lot of control of. They're part of the infrastructure, but applying zero trust to them is very important, as we've seen with many recent cyber attacks. So let's focus on zero trust for applications. Again, this webinar is all about zero trust for private cloud and what we deploy in private cloud are applications. So with zero trust for applications, we have to verify 4 different things. For zero trust for applications, by the way, very similar to zero trust for users, we have to verify 4 things. The first thing is we need to verify the identity of anyone that's trying to do anything with the application, preferably with strong authentication, but it doesn't matter. As long as we do it the same way, no matter what the use case is, meaning we do it to the most extreme that we need in any of the use cases, then we're zero trust. So verifying the identity of anyone that's accessing the application. We need to verify the identity of the workloads, whether it's a physical server, a VM, a container, a serverless function, whatever it is, we need to verify the identity of the workload to make sure that it wasn't replaced by something else, and verify also the operating system that's running inside to make sure that nothing changed there. We need to verify the access before we allow one workload to access another workload, whether it's two applications talking to each other or two components of the same application talking to each other. We have to verify that that access is valid. How do we do that? We'll hear about it later in the webinar, but that's a very, very important component of zero trust for applications. And then once we verify everything that has to do with users, once we verify the workload and we verify that the access is permitted, we have to look into the transaction itself and make sure that all the components of the transaction are what we expect them to be. Again, I'm not prescribing here what we need to do and how we need to do that. All I'm saying is that to be a zero trust enterprise and to do zero trust for applications, we just have to do it the same way, no matter what the use case is. So take the most extreme case, meaning the area where you feel the least secure, and whatever you do there, you do everywhere. That's through zero trust. That's zero trust for applications. Okay, that's all I had for today. Thank you very much for listening. Enjoy the rest of the webinar. And if anyone wants to discuss this one-on-one, I'm always available. Just contact your Palo Alto Networks sales team. Goodbye and stay safe.
So how did you like that? Keep this framework in mind as you continue your journey today. If you'd like to take a deeper look into Zero Trust, here are some great resources. Architecting the Zero Trust Enterprise, as well as both sides of the cloud, Zero Trust for the public cloud and Zero Trust for the private cloud. Security is a critical component of your journey to the cloud, particularly for hybrid cloud and multi-cloud destinations. To help you close the security gaps in these cloud environments, software firewalls are the next generation platform that closes those security gaps and protects your applications and data. Please welcome Tanya Zastry. She'll guide us through a platform approach to Zero Trust for all your clouds.
Hello, I'm Tanya Shastri, and I lead product management for our next generation firewalls. Security is a critical consideration in an organization's cloud adoption journey, and today I'd like to share an approach that enables organizations to get superior security outcomes across their hybrid and multi-cloud environments while reducing complexity and improving efficiency. Across the board, organizations are revolutionizing the way they do business by moving their applications and workloads to the cloud. It gives them the freedom to focus on innovation instead of infrastructure, the ability to deliver superior customer and employee experiences, and the ability to scale to meet rapidly changing business needs. But along with the advantages of cloud adoption also come security risks. The ransomware attacks and data breaches shown here are just a few of the top notable cloud security breaches that have occurred in the recent past. These cybersecurity attacks can be a significant cost to the business as well as impact their brands. In fact, Comparitech indicated that 45% of organizations have already suffered a data breach as of 2022, and the other 55%, well, need to be prepared. Given these risks, security needs to be a critical cornerstone in your cloud adoption journey. A majority of organizations are adopting a hybrid cloud approach that includes a combination of maintaining some applications on-prem, either with traditional application architectures or virtualizing the architectures, and migrating other applications to the cloud, and developing certain applications from the ground up with a cloud-native approach. Still, other businesses are going directly to the cloud-first strategy, leveraging one or more public cloud service providers to develop cloud-native applications. In order to achieve zero trust security consistently across hybrid and multi-cloud environments, a comprehensive approach is required. Securing the application development cycle, as well as defending from network-based threats, are both equally important, and they must deliver security with the zero trust principles of least privilege access with continuous trust verification and continuous security inspection to detect and prevent all known and unknown threats, and do this across all environments, whether on-premise or in the cloud. When you look at the critical areas and capabilities required to secure modern organizations, it's clear that a point product approach is not the answer. The configuration, testing, and maintenance of disparate products is widening the security skills gap, and worse, the complexity of stitching together the security solutions across these disparate products leads to security gaps and poor security outcomes. Palo Alto Networks enables organizations to get best-of-breed security products and consistency and simplicity through consolidation of these products into a platform with 3 platforms: the Strata platform for network security, the Prisma Cloud platform for cloud security, and the Cortex platform for modern security operations. All 3 platforms are supported by the industry-leading threat intelligence and incident response of Unit 42. When you adopt Prisma Cloud into your application lifecycle process, you're helping your organizations deliver applications securely from the time that developers write code to the deployment and ongoing operations across your environments, protecting them from threats with one of the most mature, comprehensive, and trusted CNAPP platforms in the industry that protects your application development lifecycle, code to cloud, with cloud workload protection, web app and API security, and more. In addition, you also need to secure your applications from network-based threats. With your network security platform, you get visibility into and protection from all known and unknown threats in real time by securing all outbound, inbound, and lateral connections in your hybrid cloud environments. Our software firewalls allow you to do this with flexibility and agility to meet cloud speed and scale while minimizing the total cost of ownership. With these 2 platforms, you have the peace of mind that both the application lifecycle and applications network access and transactions are secured with zero trust principles to defend against all cybersecurity threats. Today, we're going to dig deeper into the network security platform, including software firewalls, and why businesses need an agile, zero-trust platform to secure their hybrid multi-cloud environments. First, let's take a look at some of the reasons why an NGFW is needed in the public cloud. As I shared earlier, cloud adoption brings with it security risk, so just as businesses secure their on-premise or private clouds, so it is important to secure the applications deployed in the public cloud. These are the top cybersecurity risks that next-generation software firewalls protect you against. The biggest network-based risk in the cloud comes from the allowed outbound connections to the internet. Applications need to download software updates and communicate with other applications through APIs. So these connections have to be allowed. But once you do that, your workloads are also allowed to download malware, connect to command and control servers, and exfiltrate your critical data. The second risk comes from unknown and unpatched vulnerabilities. As an industry, we're all trying to shift security left and patch all the vulnerabilities before the applications go into production. However, there are unknown vulnerabilities like Log4j that pop up, and the delays in patching can take weeks or even months. The third risk is the east-west connections between applications. Applications don't operate in silos and need to communicate with each other. This opens up the potential for attacks to move laterally within the environment. This lateral movement needs to be protected against. CXOs know their hybrid clouds are vulnerable but are struggling to protect their organizations. Traditional network security is failing in these complex cloud environments. Public cloud providers' security is easy but can't stop modern attacks. What's needed is a zero-trust platform that prevents highly evasive threats and zero-day attacks in real time. Every cloud is different. Securing all of them is complex. What's needed is a platform that abstracts away the complexity and differences across the clouds and that provides centralized management and consistent security to adopt a zero trust for hybrid multi-cloud scenarios. Traditional security doesn't work at cloud speed. What's needed is integration with DevOps and automation and orchestration tools for agility and scale. And then consumption needs are becoming less predictable as the pace of business is increasing. What's needed are cloud-friendly consumption models that are flexible and can adapt to meet the changing business needs. Palo Alto Networks has a long history of innovation in next-generation firewalls, which extends to our software firewalls. All our best-in-class ML-powered cloud-delivered security services extend to our software firewalls, enabling you to stop zero-day threats in zero time. Our centralized management also extends to our software firewalls, simplifying the management of your security policy and delivering consistent security without gaps across your hybrid and multi-cloud environments. Our software firewalls are a versatile form factor of our Zero Trust network security platform, protecting your users, applications, and critical data from the most sophisticated threats, no matter which cloud environment you choose. Our software firewall family includes VM series for virtualized environments, CN series for containerized environments, and Cloud Next-Gen Firewall, which is our next-generation firewall delivered as a managed cloud service in the public clouds. All our software firewalls have deep integrations with a range of cloud platforms and virtualization platforms to abstract away the complexity and diversity of these underlying platforms and to provide a simplified and consistent experience across them. Consider automation. Our customers have a range of architectures, some with several thousand VPCs in the public cloud. Automation is a must to manage and operate these high-scale environments. Our software firewalls work seamlessly with DevOps tools such as Terraform, Ansible, and cloud-native automations such as AWS, CloudFormation templates, and Azure templates. I'd like to highlight an essential component, a common point of management across on-premise, private, and public clouds. Now your security policy can be designed once with Zero Trust principles and applied across all firewalls through a single management interface via Panorama for comprehensive next-gen firewall management. Now you have consistent, comprehensive security policy with no gaps across all your environments. With these two platforms, Prisma Cloud Platform and the Network Security Platform, you have peace of mind that both the application lifecycle and the application's network access and transactions are secured against all cybersecurity threats. With a security platform approach to your cloud adoption journey, you can deliver Zero Trust while enjoying the business benefits of security consolidation and cloud security that accelerates your business goals while keeping your customers, employees, applications, and critical data protected. Our customers are seeing the benefits of security consolidation and the improved security outcomes that come from a consistent security platform approach. Here's just one example of an expansive $100 billion plus multinational corporation that uses our software firewalls to achieve Zero Trust protection with an integrated approach across both their on-premises and cloud infrastructure. On behalf of Palo Alto Networks, I would like to thank you for your time. I would love to get your perspectives and see how we can help you secure your digital business transformation. Feel free to reach out to your account team and have them arrange a discussion. I look forward to meeting you for a deeper dive. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you.
Tani talked about two key Zero Trust security platforms. To add a bit more color to software firewalls, here are a couple popular white papers describing how hackers are coming after your hybrid cloud applications and infrastructure, and their critical role in protecting your hybrid cloud applications. I also added a Forrester study for Prisma Cloud Platform and how that platform protects your native development lifecycles. Now that we have an understanding of the platforms and the security foundation, Raj is going to lead us through some of the many detailed Palo Alto Networks cloud reference architectures for software firewalls and how they fit into a Zero Trust application.
Hello, my name is Raj Padil, Director of Technical Marketing for Palo Alto Networks Software Firewalls. Today, I'm going to give you a quick overview of our software firewalls and explain how to secure your applications and critical business data using hybrid cloud architectures. This high-level architecture slide shows our industry-leading VM series virtual firewalls deployed in the public and private cloud, with Panorama providing unified management. Depending upon your security requirements, you can have trust boundary either at the VPC level to inspect all traffic which is going in and out of that VPC, or you can simply deploy VM series close to workloads for a complete Zero Trust segmentation. Now, by doing so, VM series provides protection against all traffic flows, inbound, outbound, and east-west. Our cloud-delivered security services are natively integrated across our entire product portfolio. These services offer consistent best-in-class protection with the highest level of efficacy everywhere. On this last point, Palo Alto Networks block 99% of all Cobalt Strike attacks, compared to next leading vendor only blocking 20%. Let's look at how we can apply these security controls across the hybrid clouds, starting with the public cloud first. In a hybrid cloud environment, there is at least one public cloud. Here, I'll talk about the most popular reference architecture for a software firewall deployment on AWS using Gateway Load Balancer. But before I jump into this, it is important to understand what AWS Gateway Load Balancer is. AWS Gateway Load Balancer is a combination of Layer 3 gateway and a Layer 4 load balancer packaged in a single virtual appliance. Now, by doing so, you can deploy centralized security architecture with VM series firewalls, providing elastic scale. Integrating VM series with Gateway Load Balancer also provides maximum flexibility, scalability, and performance when protecting inbound, outbound, and east-west traffic. In the centralized model, which is the most popular architecture, application VPCs are connected via AWS Transit Gateway in a hub and spoke scenario. Transit Gateway, which is the middle box here, is acting as a hub. It helps you to extend the connectivity to your on-prem networks and other private or public clouds. Inbound traffic from application VPCs gets directly forwarded to Gateway Load Balancer via endpoints which are available in every VPC. And after that, the security inspection happens. For outbound communication, traffic needs to be routed via Transit Gateway and then to Gateway Load Balancer. Now, once traffic arrives at Gateway Load Balancer, then based upon the load, Gateway Load Balancer will forward it to one of the VM series firewalls which are running in auto-scale fashion. And based upon the results that VM series delivers, traffic is either allowed or denied. Applications communicating with each other, in this example between two VPCs, that's your east-west inspection, is also handled by Transit Gateway and then to Gateway Load Balancer. Again, once traffic arrives at Gateway Load Balancer, based upon the load, Gateway Load Balancer or GWLB forwards it to one of the VM series firewall for security inspection, and then VM series will forward to the target application. In all of these scenarios, Gateway Load Balancer maintains the session state, so you don't really have to worry about session symmetry or deal with network address translation challenges. This detailed reference architecture simplifies the overall design and reduces the cost. Instead of 3 separate VPCs for your inbound, outbound, and east-west, you just need one dedicated security VPC with few number of firewalls. Finally, this entire architecture can be easily deployed in just few clicks, and we provide CloudFormation as well as Terraform templates on our GitHub repo. Now let's look at private cloud deployments using ESXi. In an ESXi-based architecture, VM series can be deployed in two ways. First would be Layer 3, or the second would be Layer 2 mode. In this slide, VM series firewalls are deployed within a dedicated security cluster highlighted by the middle box. This pair of firewalls will help you to secure applications running in your other clusters, for example, shared services running Active Directory or DNS, or 3-tier applications running in your application cluster. A virtualized panorama is providing that consistent management of security policies across private and public clouds. Now let's discuss the L3 and L2 deployment options. In L3 mode, the VM series operates as a simple Layer 3 routed hop. You assign IP addresses to the firewall, and it simply routes traffic between those interfaces as well as security zones. However, in case of L2 mode, VM series firewall is inserted in Layer 2 fashion without making any modifications to IP addresses and so on. Here, Firewall helps you to breach two VLANs and makes them as a single broadcast domain, providing that consistent security. Between two designs, Palo Alto Networks recommends Layer 3 deployment model as it simplifies segmentation, scales better with respect to VLAN usage, and provides flexibility so that you don't have to make any changes to the default virtual switch or port group security settings on your ESXi. We discussed securing VMs in public and private cloud with specific reference architectures. Hybrid clouds can also secure modern container applications with high degree of security and granular visibility using our container firewalls. Now, you might be wondering, why do I need a separate container firewall? And let me tell you why. Virtualized or hardware firewalls sit outside of the Kubernetes cluster, a big circle I'm showing here on the slide. And you cannot deploy these firewalls inside the cluster because of the form factor difference. Now, if these firewalls are outside, then they lack visibility and granular control within the cluster. For example, east-west traffic between the ordering and payment namespace, as shown in this diagram, cannot be controlled and layer 7 inspected, since VM series sitting outside have no clue what these namespaces are. Another challenge is every time traffic is going out of any pod, a little hexagons in this diagram, the pod IP address gets translated to node IP. So if the firewall is outside, no matter from which pod traffic is originating, it will only have node level visibility and control. That's why we created CN series container firewall, which you can easily deploy inside any Kubernetes cluster, just like any other pod. To summarize, the hybrid cloud can be a simple to complex mix of clouds. All can be secured with Palo Alto Networks software firewalls. For public cloud, we support AWS, Azure, GCP, and many more. And for private cloud, we support VMware, Nutanix, Linux KVM, and rest of the others hypervisors. In terms of container security, we support all the CSP variants for Kubernetes. Our customers love our software firewalls and deploy quickly and easily at scale across all the clouds. On behalf of the software firewall team, thank you for your time. If you'd like to connect or have further questions, please reach out to your account manager and we can partner together in securing your hybrid cloud architectures with Palo Alto Networks software firewalls. Thank you and enjoy your day.
Before we move on, we just covered some great architectural highlights. For a deeper dive, here are some of the public cloud reference architectures. And these links here are for our private cloud reference architectures. All that's needed for your hybrid cloud protection. Tanya talked about essential components of the Zero Trust, a common point of management delivering security with a single pane of glass visibility across your entire clouds. Imran's going to take us through the essential part of the platform as well as covering Zero Trust policies that track and secure your applications wherever they run in your hybrid cloud.
Hello, my name is Imran Bashir, Director of Technical Product Marketing at Palo Alto Networks. Let's talk about how our software firewall products protect one's hybrid cloud environment and how can you implement Zero Trust principles in your cloud security. In this slide, we will start with the public cloud on the left and then move to the right for the private cloud. This architecture slide shows how our industry-recognized VM series virtual firewalls are deployed between public and private clouds. Again, our VM series is virtualized form factor of our market-leading network security next-generation firewalls, which are all powered by our machine learning PAN-OS, with the option of subscribing to our growing list of cloud-delivered security services, or CDSS. When we're talking about the public cloud, whether it's AWS, Azure, or GCP, you see all our VM series virtual firewall provide layers of protection from advanced URL filtering to DLP. Similarly, these same VM series virtual firewalls are deployed to any private cloud or virtualized environment on the right side. We have worked closely with the market-leading hypervisors from VMware ESXi to KVMs, so the deployments are seamless with comprehensive security. I'll provide a source list of the other hypervisors that we work with today later on so that you get more information on how to provide protection in your private cloud across the board. Most importantly, these VM series virtual firewalls are centrally managed by our Panorama, which is our centralized management offering for all of these firewalls. Yes, this is the same Panorama service that provides visibility and management to our PA series appliances, or Prisma Access, SASE, or security subscriptions. So the key takeaway here is that Panorama offers you not only a centralized visibility across your hybrid environments from public to private clouds or on-prem data center, as you see in the previous slide, but it also extends that to multi-clouds and also has the ability to enforce a unified security policy, no matter where your application reside or what type of application you have. For example, a traditional client-server application or a popular modern SaaS application. Now, along with the centralized policy management that we talked about with Panorama, we also have a complete automated threat response to raising activities from today's modern threat. And we'll talk about that in the upcoming slides. When it comes to customers' experience for Panorama, we always like to talk about one of the largest managed service provider, US Signal, where they are providing multi-tenant protection across hybrid clouds for their numerous customers. A key takeaway from this customer case is that Panorama is super easy, intuitive to learn, and just a few clicks can manage policies and visibility across 500, 600, or hundreds of firewall down to a single tenant to a multi-tenant environment. Now, Panorama also allows the grouping at any level. For example, if you want to see the whole entire picture, you can see that through Panorama for all the firewalls, or you can drill down to a specific area and get a more detailed view of your environment. Now, let's jump into how our software firewall supports an enterprise interest in zero trust environment. And we're going to look at this slide. We talked about the machine learning powered PAN-OS that powers all of our firewall offering from the market leading next gen firewalls in all the platforms and form factors, VM series, hardware firewalls, and any other form factor. Remember, PAN-OS is well known in the industry for the contextual information from app ID to user and device ID, so that one can implement a complete zero trust policy in practice beyond that offered by a traditional port or IP-based protocol. So we're talking about moving from layer 4 to layer 7 and providing true protection with deep contextual information. One can enforce least privilege access along with continuous verification that many have asked in their zero trust framework. And in honesty, continuous verification is the most important thing when it comes to zero trust as well. Likewise, in parallel to PAN-OS security policies, one can also apply the cloud delivered security services that we talked about in earlier slides, or CDSS, to cover known and unknown threats and other security needs, from covering advanced threat prevention, sandboxing using Wildfire, or web security by using DNS security, advanced URL filtering, data loss prevention, and much more, which is all part of our cloud delivered security services. So now I'm going to show you how our software firewalls enable our customers to deploy zero trust best practices in the following warehouse environment. The best part about our zero trust policy is that everything available for a zero trust policy in action are available in the same line, or same rule as we call it. So you don't have to go to different places to configure files, URL filtering, IPS. It's all available in one single policy. So all the elements that are contained in the policy rules for identity, device, application or workload, access, they're all applied in the same policy for the same transactions. And it works between to and from the application. As you can see here, a next-gen firewall rule can be written using simple business language, making it easy to understand what the rule does when someone other than you is looking at it. We've highlighted the zero trust element of identity, device, application, access, and transaction protection intentionally built into the same rule structure. Now let's go deeper into how these policies are applied to specific application and follow your application wherever they run in your hybrid cloud environment. As you've seen in the previous slide, context is super important to enforce a true zero trust policy in practice. We make context sharing super easy with dynamic address group, or DAGs as we call it. It also extends the ability for our partners to share context to us so that we can apply that context in the same security policy or the zero trust rule that you saw in the previous slide. Now, additionally, with DAGs or application tags, mapping consistent security policies across hybrid cloud environment, ESXi, overflowing to AWS, it all becomes very, very easy to configure. For example, if you look at this slide, during peak user traffic, your private ESXi server reaches capacity, and you need to add resources to handle that capacity. Let's see how that can be done dynamically. So we'll take an example of this blue application, which spins up on AWS, and Panorama picks up the tag automatically. It then adds that tag to AWS VM series tag and applies the blue application tag to the security policy, right? All dynamically. And similarly, when a green application comes up and a yellow application comes up, we get the same consistent experience of using security policies that follow your application in any cloud, making use of tags, dynamic address group, as your cloud scales up or scales down. As well as a VM app spins down, so it is removed from the DAG as well. Another important thing I want to point out is that what happens when the application gets decommissioned or the application is marked as unhealthy. We have the ability to dynamically remove that association that we did previously, for example, assigning a tag or a DAG. And that gives you the ability for zero trust policy consistently across the board in any hybrid cloud or private cloud, that the application association and the tag is removed and the access is revoked automatically. Once again, something unique to Palo Alto Networks platform offering is Panorama's single pane of glass, which benefits all the clouds. You can get this with any point products, for example, CSP or virtualized cloud environment. What you're getting is complete visibility across the board in your hybrid cloud environment, and the ability to group or drill down to varying visibility needs all the way down to an individual next-gen firewall from a single point or pane in the glass. What we can see on this slide is that Palo Alto Networks Panorama allows for the user to have complete end-to-end visibility of your entire cloud infrastructure or hybrid on-prem or off-prem. Ability to author user-defined groupings. For example, if you only want to see a certain things about the user. Your public cloud application traffic. Group all your CSPs into one group, and then you can start seeing that. Your private cloud application traffic. For example, group all your private applications into one group, and you can start seeing that. And also your individual clouds. For example, group your individual application by cloud, for example, AWS, GCP, Azure, VMware ESXi, or Nutanix. Or maybe view only your virtual application traffic wherever they are running across your clouds. Group all your VM series virtual firewalls. Or maybe view only your container traffic wherever containers are running across your clouds. Group all your CN series firewall, for example, right? And that gives you a complete view of the data center, software firewall, VM series, you name it. So again, bringing the point home is that Panorama gives you that centralized management and that visibility, so you can not only group the traffic by individual clouds or by private clouds, but also drill down into very, very specific area to get a lot more information. On behalf of Palo Networks, I would like to thank you for your time today. If you'd like to hear more about application tagging, dynamic address group, Panorama, or writing other zero trust security policies in practice, please feel free to reach out to your account team and we have them arrange a discussion. I look forward to meeting you for a deeper dive. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Imran. Take a look at these critical zero trust elements of the software firewall. Panorama for that single point of management across all your clouds. The baseline next generation firewall PAN-OS that fully characterizes the network flows in determining granular zero trust access. And then cloud delivered security, providing that zero trust transaction protection. Software firewalls also provide agility with the ability to automate deployments and policies at the speed of cloud. VJ is going to take us through most of the two popular automation tools next.
Hello, I'm Vijay Kannan, Director of Product Management in the Software Firewall team. Today, I'm going to talk about the automation capabilities of Palo Alto Networks software firewalls and how it would play a role in your cloud adoption journey. Let's get started. Over the years, we have seen our customers use our next-generation firewalls like VM series for protecting their traffic in their private and public cloud environments. These firewalls provide best-in-class security with layer 7 application controls, real-time signature updates, and ML-powered threat prevention. In the next few minutes, I'll talk to you about how you can get this best-in-class security with agility using the automation capabilities of these software firewalls. These automation features radically simplifies how you deploy and manage these firewalls on your hybrid cloud environment. The software firewalls have well-defined REST and XML APIs, These APIs allow you to automate configurations and policy changes using the leading infrastructure as code tools or your custom development tools. We are largely agnostic to your choice of tools. If you're using a certain tool to deploy your cloud infrastructure, you may very well use the same tool to deploy and manage software firewalls along with the rest of your cloud infrastructure. We offer Terraform modules, Ansible playbooks, AWS CloudFormation templates, Azure ARM templates, and much more for automating firewalls in your cloud environment. These tools help you with automated deployment, automated scaling, and automated policy changes. One call out for the container application development teams. We also have the Helm charts and templates for deploying the Palo Alto Networks CN series firewalls. This means you can use them to extend Zero Trust security for your Kubernetes environments. Today, I would talk more about Terraform and Ansible. Most customers use the infrastructure as a code approach such as Terraform for automating software firewalls in the cloud. In this IAC approach, cloud infrastructure resources and configurations are represented as code and rolled out through a template. Terraform maintains state. It also reduces drift from the intended configuration or the source of truth. I understand this slide is busy. I want to spend some time on the figure on the right. When it comes to VMCs, firewalls, and AWS, you first need automation to deploy these firewalls by bootstrapping them, adding them to an autoscaling cluster, and inserting them inline with your application traffic. Then, you need automation to configure security policies on these firewalls. We offer you Terraform components to automate both your deployment and your configuration. The Terraform examples or modules on the left arm of the figure will help you define firewall infrastructure as a code using the native AWS provider. You can just include these modules in your code. These reusable modules will help you bootstrap your firewalls and insert them in your cloud environment along with other AWS resources. The Terraform examples modules on the right arm of the figure will help you define firewall policies as a code using the Palo Alto Networks PAN-OS provider. Again, you can just include these reusable modules in your code. Palo Alto Networks publishes best practices reference architecture for deploying security within your cloud infrastructure. One example is the VM series centralized design model in AWS. In this model, a dedicated security VPC provides a simplified and a centralized approach to threat inspection using a transit gateway. You use route rules in your application VPCs to redirect traffic to the security VPC for inspection. You can then author security rules on these central firewalls. Within the Terraform registry, we have published a Terraform example to realize this reference architecture. This example will deploy the entire firewall infrastructure that includes the VPCs, subnets, security groups, route rules, gateway load balancer, transit gateway, along with an auto-scaling VM series firewall cluster. Remember the reusable modules we discussed in the previous slide? This example makes use of those modules published by Palo Alto Networks to registry. Now, let's dive deeper into Terraform module. You can use this module to bootstrap your VM series virtual firewall on an AWS EC2 instance by just specifying the map of the network interfaces. You can specify the AWS subnet IDs to create the management interface, the private interface, and the public data interface of your firewall instance. You can also specify whether to create a new public IP address or use an existing public IP address for the management interface. Switching gears to the PAN-OS provider. As I said in my previous slides, we offer you PAN-OS Terraform provider and modules to represent the policy as a code and roll it out through a template. These modules use the bootstrapping APIs to automatically provision a VM series firewall with a working configuration complete with licenses and subscriptions. The example Terraform code on the left configures security policies. These policies refers to the address and the service objects previously created. These policies also use the dynamic address group and the external dynamic list. These configurations consume external data that dynamically change the way rules are enforced in these firewalls. Moving on to Ansible. Ansible is a very powerful open source automation language. It uses modules to communicate with the vendor-specific devices. We have published a collection of Ansible modules that automates configuration and operational tasks on a Palo Alto Networks generation firewall. These modules are well documented and are officially supported for Ansible subscribers. We have a number of Ansible playbooks in the GitHub that helps in automating the deployment and configuration aspects of the firewalls. We are limited in time today for a deep dive, but please do check out these Ansible playbooks. At Palo Alto Networks, we largely use the automation capabilities of our firewalls. There's a lot going on in this slide, but I want you to take away 3 main points. 1. Our IT department uses a CI/CD pipeline built on Jenkins GitHub infrastructure. This serves as a conduit for making firewall policy changes and other network configuration changes. 2. Our IT adopts a policy as a code approach to manage security rules across 200 plus firewalls in 20 plus sites. 3. By using this DevOps approach, our IT has reaped large benefits in the form of reduced mean time to repair and increased operational efficiency. There's a lot more information in this blog. Please do check it out. We also have a large number of customers using the automation capabilities of our software firewalls. Here's an example of your peer, US Signal. They evaluated the software firewall's automation features as it was one of their main selection criteria in addition to the security features. This customer now maintains that automation cuts time spent provisioning firewalls by 97%. The firewall automation has reduced their provisioning task from hours to minutes, while achieving that consistent zero-trust security posture. Wrapping up, we are excited to share the automation benefits of our software firewalls. Automation uses the native product APIs to perform firewall deployments and configurations faster with more agility. Firewall automation reduces operational cost and complexity. It helps you avoid repetitive configuration tasks and reduce misconfigurations. Automation allows you to deploy consistent and comprehensive protection. It helps you maintain that consistent security posture by dynamically updating the policies as your environment changes. With that, I would like to thank you for joining me today. If you need more information, please reach out to your account team. They can connect you with the right resources to start your cloud automation journey. Have a great rest of your day.
So how can you get started with Terraform? Palo Alto Networks has done a lot of heavy lifting here. Here are some of the reusable VM series Terraform modules to get you started with AWS, Azure, and Google Clouds, and jumpstart your security. Likewise, Ansible, we can get you started with a free open source version of that. Take full advantage of Palo Alto Networks' full array of playbooks available on GitHub. Before I wrap the day up with you, I wanted to share one last explainer video with you that talks about Nutanix for the private cloud and leverages AWS and Azure for the public cloud, getting you that full hybrid cloud environment. In general, these concepts and benefits that you see apply to all clouds with software firewalls as the base protection foundation for your zero trust.
Anytime, anywhere. That's how employees and customers expect their data and services, which adds complexity and strain on IT and network traffic. North-South network traffic defines communication to public environments, whilst East-West network traffic defines the data and applications within a trusted environment, creating an ever-changing landscape which requires a new approach for complete visibility and security. Palo Alto Networks and Nutanix have teamed up to provide a holistic hybrid cloud network and security solution. Palo Alto Networks VM series virtual firewalls further control Nutanix workloads and add north-south traffic policies. Nutanix Flow Network Security controls east-west traffic for Nutanix AHV workloads by protecting every individual virtual machine through microsegmentation. Palo Alto Networks VM series virtual next-generation firewalls are then deployed using a Nutanix self-service blueprint to enable workload deep packet inspection. VM series virtual firewalls are integrated with Flow Network Security to enable contextual security policies, deploy easily with Nutanix self-service blueprints, and create consistent zero-trust enforcement anywhere. Nutanix Flow Virtual Networking uses virtual private clouds, or VPCs, to reduce and unify the manual configuration of hybrid cloud networks, where Palo Alto Networks VM series virtual firewalls are required for highly automated security policies across clouds. Our joint solution offers benefits like next-generation security controls to stop advanced threats, consistent management of hybrid cloud security postures, and automated scalable deployment of VM series virtual firewalls to secure your hybrid cloud using Nutanix and Palo Alto Network solutions for 360-degree network protection. Visit us online to learn more.
If you'd like to get a first-hand look at our software firewalls, Palo Alto Networks offers free trials. Here are 3 key trials to get you started with the basics of securing your hybrid cloud. AWS and Azure for the public clouds, and for the private cloud, a 30-day trial for ESXi or Linux KVM environments. What you'll learn is software next-generation firewalls stop cyber threats that other solutions just miss and deliver an always-on, consistent security for any cloud, private, public, or hybrid. And because they're software firewalls, they have the flexibility of application development. You now can protect any cloud with agility with Palo Alto Networks software firewalls. Before we sign off, I have a huge favor. I always strive to give you the best experience and take away some great learnings. Please take a moment and provide me with your feedback. I'd love to hear from you on how we can make improvements. As I'd mentioned at the start, there's a lot of reference material we covered. Links to that content can be found in this survey. Feel free to explore them deeper. With that, Palo Alto Networks enjoys being your cybersecurity partner of choice in your Zero Trust journey. I hope you had a great time, and thank you for your time. Have a great day.
Wow, that was awesome, guys. Thanks, Dennis, and the whole Palo Alto team for that fantastic overview of Zero Trust in various cloud environments. I think we're all better informed after that presentation and can keep ourselves safer. And that's really why we were all here, isn't it? So it looks like we're running out of time today, but before we wrap up, we have one more piece of business, and it's the Amazon gift card prize drawing. Now, as I mentioned before, you have to be present for the entire event to be eligible to win. And the winner of today's $250 Amazon gift card is Carrie Wagner from Idaho. Congratulations, Carrie. We'll be in touch soon to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of the entire Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank Palo Alto Networks for making this event possible today. And thanks to you, the attendees, as always, for being here and for sharing this with us. It's always a pleasure to be on with you. That concludes today's event. Have a great rest of your day.